also built like a tank. Easton Cowan, unfortunately, is not built that way.
Yeah, he's also 6'3", 220 pounds. Yeah. Easton Cowan's like 5'10", 5'11", $180. Different situation.
Like I know a lot of people, and somebody brought this up to me, would hope that Easton Cowan could take a similar path to like what a Wyatt Johnson did, where he had a really good junior career and he was able to translate that to the NHL right away. I mean, you know what? There's no reason why he can't do that, even if he was in the AHL. Like Wyatt Johnson, when it came to Dallas, took advantage of an opportunity that was presented to him, where there was a clear need for him to be there right off the hop. I'm okay if Easton Cowan doesn't have, if he has to take a bit of a different path. And I know there's a lot of people that are still bullish on what he can be as an NHL prospect. Well, he's not a finished product, and that's fine, because he's going to have a lot. They're trying to do this the right way with him. And I think the important thing to take from what Berube's had to say is they're okay being patient with Easton Cowan. I think the rest of the fan base is going to have to show some patience with him as well.
Yeah, 100%. So don't be alarmed if, the Maple Leafs break camp and Easton Cowan is not part of the 23-man roster when they kick things off and play the Montreal Canadiens on night 1 or game 1 of the NHL season on night 2 of the NHL season. But we'll see. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I'll say that, because the ceiling of Easton Cowan is far higher than it is of Max Domi. So if he could come and beat out Domi and earn a top 6 or top line role at the club, I think that's best case scenario for the Maple Leafs. Yep. I just think it's less likely that it happens right away. I think that he will need a little bit of seasoning before being given a role like that. All right, more pressure on Matthews or more pressure on Marner heading into the upcoming season. We'll have that discussion next here in the Locked On Leafs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. If your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it fits however you like to bet, whether it's on player props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in on some live bets as well. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your favorite team or keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the best way to add a little bit more energy to those Sundays. So, are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Welcome back into the Locked On Leafs podcast. Mike DiStefano, Dave Morisuti with you as we are each and every day, Monday to Friday, on the Locked On Leafs podcast, free and available wherever you get a podcast, and also on YouTube. Season's coming up pretty soon, man. We're a week away from the start of training camp. I was actually I was out at the bar on King Street West over the weekend. A couple people came up to me, a couple listeners saying that they're loyal listeners, love Locked On, and they're like, come October, we're back. Can't wait for those daily listens come October. And I'm like, guys, we're year-round. We're a year-round podcast. You don't got to wait till October to come back, but sounds like people are getting set and getting ready for the upcoming season. It's not too far away here, Dave. So Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner, they've been tied at the hip since they came into the league 9 years ago together, both as rookies, and have both had great careers, point-wise, production-wise. They've both been fantastic. The team, not as much success, obviously. But it's very interesting when you look at them going into this season. Obviously, Marner departs, and now they'll have to perform away from each other, without each other. And I guess the question that I have for you is, Dave, is there more pressure on Matthews to perform without Mitch Marner, or Mitch Marner to perform without Austin Matthews this season?
I think just by looking at the markets, the pressure is probably going to be higher on Austin Matthews, because he as the captain is going to have to answer those questions. How are you guys going to perform without Mitch? What do you expect to be different without? Like, there's going to be a lot of that for him. He's going to have to answer a lot of questions about not having Marner around anymore. Like when Marner gets to Vegas, this is going to be more about how he will really impact the Vegas lineup. How they really don't have a player like him in Vegas, and so I think Mitch, I think we see that he's already like handled the move to Vegas pretty good because they've really embraced him in the way that he's felt he's needed to be embraced by that team. So I think there's definitely going to be more pressure on Matthews just because he's got to deal with the fact that they once came up short in the playoffs. He doesn't have Marner anymore, and he's going to have to show that he as the captain is going to be able to step up and lead the charge.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think there's pressure on both players, obviously, but for different reasons. I think there's more pressure on Matthews, I guess, from what you're talking about, a perspective of like, you know, can he be as impactful as a player if he doesn't have a superstar winger getting him the puck, right? And it's both in the regular season, it's in the playoffs, it's at 5-on-5, it's at on the power play. Like in all situations, Matthews and Marner were tied to the hip. So can he still have the level of production that's needed to allow this team to win a division and keep their hopes alive to win a Stanley Cup? That remains to be seen. Austin Matthews, you know, has to go out there and perform and be just as good as he's been the last 4 or 5 years. If he can do that and do it without Mitch Marner, then obviously mission accomplished. Then that clearly means that Austin Matthews can get it done without Mitch. But that question is very much looming in the background. We've talked about it ad nauseum throughout the summer, how a lot of experts are predicting a bit of a drop-off from Austin Matthews. You know, FanDuel had his points total sub 90 points this year. So there's a large, you know, number of people who are expecting Matthews to take a bit of a step back without Mitch Marner. But at the same time, when I look at the playoffs, like I think pressure, like when I look at Mitch Marner, I think pressure doesn't come for him until the playoffs.
Yeah.
For me, like I think that Mitch Marner is going to be fine next to Jack Eichel. They're not really going to talk much because Mitch Marner has always been able to perform regardless. So he's going to do what he does in the regular season. I have no issues, and it's not much of a drop off from, you know, Matthews to Eichel. He should be fine. But what does he do in the playoffs? That's where I think the pressure comes from him. It's completely playoff dependent, and whether or not he'll be able to, you know, perform, because that's always been, you know, the knock on Marner, especially you know, those games 4 through 7. You know, can he live up to the moment, and can he perform in those big time games? Because if he doesn't, I think that people are going to start. It's like, okay, it didn't happen in Toronto, and now you've gone over to Vegas, and you're still laying goose eggs in game 7s and 6s and 5s. That will get noisy real quick for Mitch Marner if he lays a dud in the postseason this year.
Especially when you consider who he might be going up against, right, in rounds 1 or 2 in the playoffs. It's going to be McDavid. It's going to be Draisaitl. 2 guys who are notorious for carrying their teams in the playoffs. And if he goes up against them, and, you know, as much as he'll be away from the Toronto spotlight, if he's playing Edmonton in the first round, that's a Canadian market right there. He ain't going to be able to escape the media in that regard. And those same questions could be asked of them, even though it's not in Toronto. So, and I think even in Vegas, like, Vegas has established that if you're not, you know, getting the job done, you know, it's not going to be a smooth. He's not going to be able to hide from it, right? I think sometimes like that. Yeah, the Vegas market, everything's kind of seems to be chill over there, but that organization has established a standard